Have you heard about Microsoft for Startup Founders Hub, a platform to help all founders to grow and scale their startups? You can join Founders Hub at any of the 4 levels. For founders who are refining their ideas, you can join at level 1, the ideate stage. Founders with a strong conviction of their solution join at level 2, the develop stage, to build their minimum viable product. For founders with a working product and want to add new features while gaining customer traction, you can join at level 3, the grow stage. And lastly, for founders with a product in market and want to focus on the sales acceleration, you can join at level 4, the scale stage. Founders get up to $150,000 worth of Azure credits and free OpenAI credits to include LLMs and generative AI capabilities in your product. You also get access to enterprise developer tools such as GitHub and Visual Studio, and productivity tools such as M365, Dynamics 365, and Power Platform to run your businesses. Lastly, you get one-on-one technical consultations with Microsoft experts to help you as you build out your product. Apply today at aka.ms/foundershub.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us today for this live stream event. My name is Alexia, and I am the program manager of the Microsoft Reactor Toronto. I will be sharing session resources with you in the chat, but before we begin, I'd like to quickly review 2 items: our code of conduct and event guidelines. First, please take a moment to review our code of conduct. Microsoft Reactor seeks to provide a respectful environment for both our audience and presenters. We encourage engagement in the chat, but please be mindful of your commentary, remain professional and on topic. And secondly, our event guidelines. This session is being recorded and will be available on demand through the Microsoft Reactor YouTube channel in about 24 to 48 hours. I will be sharing the link in the chat for our channel. And if you have not been on a live stream through YouTube before, please note that you must create an account on YouTube in order to have access and interact in the chat. You can set that up now. And if you're unable to use the chat but have questions, feel free to reach out to us through social media or on our website. Which brings us to today's session. Today is the episode 5 of the Tech Odyssey series/podcast. I'm going to bring in our host, Luka, for today, and our speaker. Hi, Luka.
Hi, Alexia.
Welcome back on the Reactor. Thanks for hosting this episode with us.
Very unusual episode, I'll say, and I'll say why. But thank you so much for everyone listening. Welcome to Tech Odyssey. My name is Luka. I'm the CEO and co-founder of doTERRA Health. doTERRA Health is a startup, a healthcare startup that uses AI to help family physicians become more efficient and help them with their decision making. But today, as every Thursday, we're not here to talk about doTERRA Health. We are here to talk about Tech Odyssey. This is an initiative that me and my company, doTERRA Health, we are doing as a part of a lot of other initiatives with Microsoft Reactor and Microsoft for Startups for a series of From Founders to Founders. And I'm very lucky to be the host of this show, because our goal in this show is to challenge knowledge, which is a very, very ambitious goal to have. I want to thank Valiant Entertainment for today's episode and every Thursday that we are together. They make this happen. I want to thank Truth Designs, Tag and V, for this beautiful t-shirt that our guest is going to explain to us after a little bit. But most importantly, I want to thank also Niagara Falls Innovation Hub. Not only because it's an amazing incubator and it's providing us with this beautiful studio, but also for today's episode, specifically for today's episode. For today's episode, we had another guest called Nick Link. For a problem that he had, for a personal problem, he had to reschedule. So, as Christopher Walken says, improvisation is the king. We improvised. And we had one of the startups from Niagara Falls Innovation Hub, one of the founders, and also founder of Microsoft for Startups, called Luis Ortiz. Luis, thank you so much for being with us.
No, thank you, Luka, for having me as a pinch hitter here today. And I'm happy to help and share our Odyssey as a startup with you and with everybody listening. So fantastic. Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing. Luis, can you, as you can see here, this is a different completely episode, so I'm just gonna put it down. I want to talk to you more about about yourself. Tell us more about your background and give us a rundown of who you are, Luis.
Yeah, fantastic. So yeah, thanks for that. So my name is Luis Ortiz, and originally from Colombia. I came to Canada about 1996. I went to school for engineering in Colombia, and I took a business degree after that in the US. But I came here to Canada, and I started working basically selling technology. I was part of lots of innovations in terms of technology. So I was part of the wireless boom, and back in the 1996, 2000s, early 2000s. So that's pretty early times. We were part of also all of this innovation in technology for automating, transportation and processes in many things. So, travel around the world selling technology. I was very happy to do that. And for the last 8, 10 years, I've been an entrepreneur in many, many areas. I can give you a lot of background in terms of where I've been. I've been in oil and gas, in cannabis, in agriculture, and now we are in this tech space that we're working on, and we're excited to be there. So that's a little bit about my background. And yeah.
What is the name of your current startup?
Uh, our
Infinite Harvest?
our company is called Infinite Harvest Technologies,
Yeah.
and what we have developed as a company is a solution that is a clean tech solution that we offer to the food production sector. If you think about food production in Canada and around the world, the amount of waste that we produce by producing the food that we eat is huge. In Canada alone, it's about 58% of what we import produce is wasted and then disposed into the environment. And what we do is we take that waste and we use insects to biodigest them. And of course, we use technology to manage this process, optimize it, and make it much better. And the result is a product that we can actually sell into pet food and into other markets that are sustainable and circular economy and this kind of thing. So that's what we're doing as a company. So make something people want, like
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
said.
I love it. Yeah.
Everybody's looking for natural proteins, natural ingredients. That's what we're doing with something that is waste otherwise.
No, it's amazing. I think it's a very big trend right now, especially with a lot of startups. I've seen it. I've seen that a lot, especially in United States. But it's amazing that this is happening in Canada, not only in Canada but also in Niagara Falls. And we'll talk about that a little bit after. But as a tradition of the episode, we talk about t-shirts, and you mentioned the
Yeah.
t-shirt, right? This is not just meant for the for Nick actually, but I love it because it makes sense also for you, right? This
Mhm.
is the famous Y Combinator quote: "Make something people want." My first question for you, Luis, is how did you know that what you're building people want it and or the industry wants it?
Yeah. Well, the truth is, at the beginning, you don't know that people want it. You
Yeah.
just think that this is a solution that people may be interested in adopting. But through your journey and through your Odyssey, tech Odyssey in the world, you actually start talking to people, customers, and they start basically tailoring your message and helping you develop your idea in a better way. And eventually you come up with something that, hey, they really want. And that's the moment that I found that was I started talking to a greenhouse company,
Yeah.
and they told us what you are offering is the best solution that we can have because it's clean, fits with our model, and we like it. So when the customer tells you that that's what I really want, that's when everything clicks for us as a company, and we were able to do that. Anyway, that's the moment.
Yeah. Oh, no, no, of course, of course. I think that's the moment that you kind of validate a little bit of that pre-product market fit.
Correct.
And when you have, but we'll talk about product market
Yeah.
fit a little bit after. Actually, I was thinking about it right now. So, Luis, you said in the introduction that you are Colombian, right?
Yes.
The For people that I've seen and for the guests that I've seen, like our podcast, how it works is the first questions are a little bit more personal about your
Mhm.
journey and about your
Sure.
story. How do you say your birth in a different country, you becoming an immigrant and being an immigrant founder, helped you become very resilient as you are and becoming successful in a way, right?
Mhm.
Does that actually affect, does that immigration background affect you as a founder?
I, I think it does. Especially when you come from, let's call it an underdeveloped country or people that have a different perception of the country. I believe that we, where we were born in Colombia, especially, it's a developing country, so things are done in a different way. You have to find better ways to do something with less resources. Let's call it that way. Now, when you come in entrepreneurship world, in Canada, this is what we're doing. We had to find better ways to do what we do every day because we either don't have the money or the resources or the people to do it. So it helped me a lot. I think that's the being an immigrant and an entrepreneur at the same time has come together into this venture that we're doing because we had to do a lot of things with a little resources and we had
Yeah.
to find very good ways to do it. So anyway, I think that's when it comes together as a complement, being an immigrant and now being an entrepreneur here in Canada. So
No, makes sense. I think I remember there was a senator in U.S. She was a lady and she was Colombian, and she talked about how Colombians, every time that she was to go in the street, I don't know if it happened to you, but every time she used to go in the street, people used to say, "Oh, you're Colombian? Oh, do you know Pablo Escobar?"
yeah,
Like Colombia was only known from for bad
for
things,
bad things.
and to be frank, even like I told you, like my background is Albania, and even Albania, sometimes we're identified with bad things. So that's why we need figures
Yeah,
that become successful in their own industry to show the world that what Colombians and what Albanians and what
yeah,
Italians can do. Right?
yeah.
I think it's very important.
100%. I agree. Right. We have something good to offer.
Yeah.
Our drive. Colombia is known for many other things: coffee, emeralds, many good things. But people don't hear about those. They only want to talk about Pablo Escobar
Yeah.
and the
Exactly.
drugs and the whole thing. But yeah,
But it's changing. It's
it's
changing,
changing. It's
especially
changing.
especially in North America. It's
It
changing a
is.
lot. The
It
the
is.
the, the, the perspective. Uh, what we were talking before, and again, this is very like I
Last
haven't
minute.
I haven't prepared any question, but we're talking before about the baseball aspect of your life, and I was
Yeah.
thinking the best founders that I've met, they had some sport somewhere in their history, in their background. Do you think that's sporty, or that background in sports, become being a baseball player, helps you a little bit with a discipline, with aggression, as entrepreneurship has?
Yeah, it does. I think sports, like, of course, typically in sports, you play something because you like it. For
Yeah,
us as Colombian, soccer was, or
of course,
football was the
football
thing.
was the best.
That's the passion, right? However, you start, being interested through school or through different environments into different sports. I was interested in baseball, and I started playing. I wasn't very good, but I started playing, and I started getting better at it. I think it's similar to being an entrepreneur. You are not good at something and you had to do it because you don't, you're by yourself or with your co-founder doing things and you figure out ways to do it. The same with the sports, right? For me, baseball was that. I started improving every day, practicing a lot. I became a much better player. I did the regionals, then I did, nationals and that kind of thing. And it helped me really, really find that drive that you as an entrepreneur need, right? Because you're looking at that target. And in sports, you're doing it the same, right? You want to win the Stanley Cup, you want to win these big trophies, right? And that you need that drive to go after it. And it's all part of this, the same thing that we're doing right now. We're going after the passion of making our dream become something that is true or
Absolutely,
real, and
absolutely,
and that's the way to create a future for us, right?
absolutely, absolutely. No,
So
I love when 5 minutes, because we got this news that the episode would be canceled 5 minutes before the episode started.
yeah.
And I went upstairs because we're downstairs right now, just for the people to imagine. I went upstairs. First person I saw, Luis. I said, Luis, you want to come to the episode, man? He was like, sure, why not?
Why
Right?
not?
That's the same as when the coach tells you, okay, Luis, come.
Come.
You have to keep
Yeah.
you have to be the captain, and you have
Yeah.
to
You had to
win the
finish
game.
it today. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
you
had to
have to
do it.
win the game. And you
Yeah.
said yes immediately. And I love that mindset. I love
Yeah.
the mentality. Please talk to us a little bit more about your you mentioned that you lived during the internet boom with the 2000s, and you were selling tech at the
Yeah.
time, right? which
Yes.
is which is quite a good experience to have, because you saw the worlds, the hype world, but also even
The down.
the boom,
The
it's like every boom, the crisis that
the
happened after
crash.
that, right?
The crash. Yeah.
The crash. Tell us a little bit more about how did they shape your experience and your life after that. Did you learn a lot of good lessons from that time?
Yeah, absolutely. During the boom,
Yeah.
there is a lot of resources, and our company was, at that time, I was working with a company that was leading in the world, really, in the wireless communication. They have basically all the patents and all this technology about how these devices communicate with each other. Right?
Okay.
There's a protocol. So we actually at that time owned that. So we
Wow.
were actually selling that, and offering that around the world. So I went to Europe, with the Nokias of the world, with the big guys, and we were actually innovating and doing great things. Because of the boom, there was a lot of money going into that industry, and we were able to develop some fantastic projects, right? However, like any boom, any bubble, right, bursts, right?
Yeah,
Eventually,
of
the
course.
the resources come out. Either the expectations either were too high, or the technology wasn't able to deliver what was happening. But anyway, a combination of many things. Everything burst, and then the company it didn't go down, but they had to reshape the model. We had to change what we were doing and how we were doing it. So that's actually how we are doing that in this company. We every day we have a challenge. Every day the market changed, the economics changed.
Of course.
We were talking a few days ago about fundraising and capital,
Yes.
and some of the resources that we need in order to move the venture forward, and and being for me being part of that burst where we actually went down really really bad. We were layoffs. We probably lay off 90% of the company.
Wow, 90%.
90%
Wow.
at that time, from going to the biggest wireless communication trade show in the world,
Wow.
being the star, to not being there at all because everything dries out, right? So, but anyway, at that moment, what we decided was to focus on a different area. We say this is a good business. We're gonna make it work, and actually, we were able to make it happen, to get the companies to survive through those times, through that, by being resilient, by being, by doing all the things that you needed to do, and eventually, now wireless communication is normal. Everybody use it, and nobody questions it. But at that time, it was innovation. We were in the early adoption part of the curve, and anyway, for me personally, being an entrepreneur, all of those experiences, good and bad, are part of what we need to learn and how to become better people and better people at what we do.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's funny because a lot of these people that maybe were not the founders of the companies during the boom, the
Hmm.
2000 boom, but that were working for these companies, they happen to become very good founders after. I think it's that's where you learn what actual entrepreneurship or what tech actually is.
Yeah, tech. Yeah,
One day you are the best in the world, and the other day you just go down because of the market, right?
correct.
Maybe you're not doing anything wrong. It's just the market is putting you down. These are the startups or the companies that actually survive and actually can become better at
Right.
and are worthy to be in this market. Uh, what do you think? Do you think there's any similarities between the 2000 boom and what's happening right now with the AI boom? Do you think we're going to go into another crash with AI
That's a,
startups? That's a good question, but
something that's a is. I had a conversation recently with somebody about this.
yeah.
Every company, including us, is using AI in any way or
Oh,
another.
really? Okay.
Like
Yeah.
we are using AI in a little way, but the way that I'm presenting it is, say, for us, it's a tool. It's a tool to achieve something that we need to do with
Yes.
our process. But you go to all these, events and conversations and everything that you read. Everybody is leading the AI. We're gonna change the world with AI. AI this and AI that. I believe it's similar. I don't think I think AI is a tool more than more than the main recipe for it is. This is just a tool that we need in order to make the real world do the things that we want to do. For example, in our case, just to explain you what we do with AI, we take pictures of our insects mating every 5 minutes, and then we send it to a person that knows entomology and
Yeah.
say, okay, this is good. So let's replicate more of these conditions to make it better, and that goes into a machine learning engine that make it happen, right?
Yeah.
To make it better. So for us, it's a tool, but we don't lead as a company saying we are an AI company. We lead as a company saying we are a solutions company that does this. So I believe so. But going back to your question, I believe that there's going to be a burst eventually, because if everybody's doing AI and everybody's changing the world with AI, which is true,
Some
some
of
of them
them,
will,
yeah.
but I don't think everybody will be successful at it. It's part of the process, and it's part of in 1 or 2 years there will be something new. I don't know what it's going to be called, but something new will be the new innovation that everybody's using to make the next unicorn in the world, and and,
Yeah.
and I think it's just a tool. It's my opinion, but I see it happening.
Yeah, I think 2 months ago I saw a statistic. and said that there are, I think, like 1 million meters square, like of office space in San Francisco Bay Area.
Hmm.
AI startups.
Yeah.
That's a lot of AI startups that are getting
Correct.
created, right?
Correct.
And most of them, I love when I hear some stories. Even friends of mine, we joke around. They're like, in tech, there's this concept of builders, right? People that build.
Yeah.
And me personally, I love builders because that's how we create companies. But there are a lot of people that build just to build, basically, just to
Yes.
just to do something. Like, okay, what are we gonna do today? Let's just create a startup,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So a lot of them, I love when they tell me, "Oh yeah, the OpenAI came up with this new solution."
Correct.
Or they just killed their startup. Like I,
Right.
I tell them, like maybe you shouldn't even have a startup if OpenAI just kills it so fast,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So I think we're going through the same. I've seen the same patterns of the 2000 crisis or every crisis ever in
Hmm.
history of humanity and history of business, right?
Right.
Interesting. Luis, before we go to the Infinite Harvest, because I want to talk mostly about that. Uh, what was your experience? Because right now, as I'm seeing also in Canada, with the oil and gas, I remember you mentioned
I
that.
work in there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. What is the future of that industry?
Something I know that there is a lot of general consensus around the world about how bad oil and gas is for the world, and I don't think oil and gas as an industry is bad. I think the way that people are using the resources is the way it's bad. The truth is, we all love these things. We all love computers. We all love, you know, all our plastic gadgets that we have, our cars. All of those are basically power and develop and come from basically an oil-based product. So people, uh, and then they go and talk about, we need to protect the environment. Oil and gas companies are bad, and all of these things. I don't think there is a disconnect. I think the two of them can survive. I believe that the oil and gas company is necessary for the world today to drive all this technology, all these AI
Yes,
people in San Francisco.
especially,
They
yeah,
need computers. They need all
yeah,
this energy, right,
yeah,
to do it. So, but at the same time, I think we need to transition to a better way to produce energy, and I believe the oil and gas companies are the best positioned companies to take advantage of that. And I can tell you why. They have the infrastructure, they know the energy business,
yeah,
they have the distribution networks, and they have the capital to do it. And they have expertise inside those companies. There is pretty clever people that knows how to do this energy business. And to be honest with you, the regional population doesn't know how this whole energy business work. And
yeah.
to power all these cars that we want to have electrical cars,
Yes,
you need all this energy, and it has to come from somewhere. So I believe these oil and gas companies are going to be transitioning into energy companies that are going to be clean,
yeah,
hopefully. But I don't think this is connected. I think it's a misperception.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just perceiving it
yeah,
in a
yeah.
wrong way.
It's a
But
lot of facade behind it too, right?
correct,
It's a lot of
yeah,
people that just want to make money and they
yeah,
just want to sell
right.
like, oh, these are the bad guys and these are the good guys. It's
Yeah, I
just
believe everybody's needed, and we need them
yeah, yeah,
to
I
power
agree.
all this. I don't know how
Yeah,
much power we're using here, but lots of it.
yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree with you this, but for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, so please tell us more about your company. Why Infinite Harvest? How did it start, first of all?
Well, so started about before COVID. We did an investment into
Cannabis industry, yeah.
cannabis industry, another burst, right?
Yeah.
Bubble,
Yeah, oh,
another bubble.
we can stay another episode talking only about
We can talk about
that.
bubbles, but so we were part of that. We actually raised some capital and invested into production, basically a agricultural side of the business, producing cannabis.
Yeah,
So, but I'm a business development guy, so I'm always looking how we can make this better. So I start basically researching in terms of what is people doing with the waste. Because cannabis, if you understand cannabis, is this plant, you cut the flower, that's where most of the CBD, THC is,
yeah,
and that's what is being processed for all these products.
yeah,
But the rest is all waste.
yeah,
It's all wasted as basically into a compost pile. So I started researching what is happening with all these organics that are basically being disposed into the environment, and I came across this whole problem that food waste is around the world. And and there is a funny statistics about food waste and organic waste. If organic waste around the world was a country, it will be the third most contaminated country in the world, just from
Wow.
food waste. And
Food waste.
it blows your mind because people doesn't understand how impactful the food waste is. Because we in Canada, for example, we want our apples to be perfect.
Yeah.
If he has a little black dot, you don't want to get it, right? So that goes into the waste bin, and that goes to the landfill, and it's methane emissions that end up happening. So that's how this whole idea came across. And then I came across a research paper from a university, I don't know, somewhere, and these guys were actually testing insects to biodigest organics. You're like, okay, this is a natural way to do it. This is a better way to do it, and it can do it very fast because insects are the biodigesters of the world. If you have a farm, or even in your house, you put basically organic waste scraps into a corner in the backyard. Eventually, there will be little worms in there, and there will be life right in there because they are the natural biodigesters of the world. So anyway, so we decided to. That's how we started. We decided, let's look into this, and I run a pilot, basically our MPV
Yeah.
model,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, we can replicate this. We can actually make it happen. And not only that, we actually started looking at what are we going to do with the larvae, so the insects later. And we found this big drive right now in sustainability around the world. All the new generations want sustainable food, sustainable
100%.
proteins.
It's a trend. It's a trend.
It's a trend.
Yeah.
And if we are sustainable and we want to eat good food, we're actually going to feed our pets good food.
Yeah.
And people are now feeding their pets and fish and things like that insects because they have a comparable protein to anything else. And at the same time, we don't have to produce more food for pets and for us to be competing for the same sources. So now we can actually send the insects to the pet foods or fish, and we can actually eat the corn, the soya meal, whatever it is that we're feeding right now, the animals. That's how this whole idea came together. and it's crazy. Anyway, that's when we started 2020.
Very ambitious, right? It's just I can just imagine you right now just saying, you know what, I'm gonna do this.
I'm gonna do this, and nobody. Yeah, this was crazy. At that time I was living in Calgary, and that was a different world. But anyway, we can talk about that later.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's how it started.
Interesting. So, where are you at right now in the business phase? So, what are you doing? Are you currently fundraising? Can you talk to us a little bit more about the guests that might be interested?
Yeah, absolutely. So, right now, we, as I mentioned, we already did our MPV. We did all our development. Basically, we have completed all the technology development. We are basically now doing a few optimizations in the process using the AI. AI, that's what we're using it for, to optimize our process. And we are now, and that's when you catch me upstairs, we are finalizing our commercial unit that is going to go to our customers. So we're starting our commercialization stage, which is going to be a food producer here in Ontario, a large one. And they're looking at this natural good solution to process the organic waste. They don't want to send it to the landfill anymore. They actually think that this is a bad thing that we're doing. And so that's where we are right now. We are in the validation / commercialization. Is going to be a commercialization unit that is going to go into a customer. We're going to get paid for it, which is great. And we are fundraising. Yes, we basically bootstrapped the whole company until now. But now we are getting into the commercial stage. So
how much time has it been for the company that is alive?
It's 3 years now.
3 years.
Yeah, so 3 years we've been bootstrapping 3 years. So it's all 3 years. Our resources. Working for with our own money and people putting time just because they love the project. And now we are fundraising capital. So we are raising our pre-seed round because we still no revenue. So it's our pre-seed round. We're raising $500,000. We have raised to date $215,000 in Canada. We have a lead investor. It's called Blue Angels.
Nice.
Here in the Niagara regions, and they are Blue Ocean Angels. Sorry, they are a very good group. They're very supportive, and they're being part of our group. So yeah, so we are halfway through that, and we are in due diligence with 2 other groups that are interested in investing and closing our round. So hopefully by May sometime. That's my goal. But we are always optimistic.
No, absolutely. Yeah, we have to be.
We have
to be optimistic because That's how you change the world if you're optimistic.
Exactly.
We talked about changing the world before. How can people find you, Luis? Because not only investors, but also maybe clients. Like how can they find you and how can they find the company?
Yeah, right now, yeah, the best way is to find is go to our website. That's where we are very active in LinkedIn as well. Our company's website is www.infiniteharvesttech.com, or we can find they can find it at box for rent.com. Those are our two websites, but basically infiniteharvesttech.com is our best way to do it. Or in LinkedIn, that's
Luis Ortiz, right? At
yeah, Luis
Infinite.
Ortiz or Infinite Harvest Technologies.
Okay,
But the two of them are we're working on it, and we're available.
amazing. So I have the last questions for today.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't want to keep you too much
No worries,
because
man.
the conversation was very good though. Uh, I wish we could have another episode with Luis. I wish for sure most probably gonna have. So where do you see the future of the company? Where is it heading to? Like where can we imagine Luis and Infinite Harvest getting to? What is your ideal world?
Yeah. So right now, as I mentioned, we are commercializing with these greenhouses. Our goal is to deploy about 15 customers by the end of the year, and then we are going to move into a big processing facility where we're going to grow billions of these insects and be able to process a lot of waste. I think our future as a company, eventually is going to be potentially going to be acquired by an strategic partner.
Okay.
This is a food feed industry.
Yeah.
So those are where most of these companies are going, you know, into the future. And we'll be part of that, but we're innovating, creating new things, and they are looking at it. There's a lot of big players in the Canadian and worldwide industry investing. Maple Food, all those big companies
Yes.
around the world are
Yes.
investing in this industry because the future of feed is insects. So that's where we see the future. So that's what we will see maybe hopefully in the next few years.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah, of course. And we root for you. You know that.
Thanks.
I'm a big fan of what you're building. Luis, thank you so much for being with us today.
No, thank you, Luca, for your time and for inviting me. And hopefully I was able to, meet your expectations in such a short
Oh my
notice.
God, you did more than that, believe it. So as part of a tradition of the episode, we have to say a quote in the end. But I'm not gonna ask you to do this.
I have one.
Oh, you have one.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Okay. The best way to predict the future is to create it. And that's from Peter Drucker. So I like that
Nice,
one.
nice,
I like that
nice.
one.
I love that. I love the best way
To
to predict the
predict
future
is
is to create it. Thank you so much for being with us today. And the episode with Nick is going to be rescheduled for maybe another date. Meet us the next episode. And again, improvisation is the key. Sometimes you have to improvise, but going back to the quote, the best way to predict the future is to create it. Luis, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Luca, for your time. Thank you, everybody.